Good morning. I am Stacey with Stacey Swall and Associates, and I am sitting here this morning with Kelly Walters with Flat Branch Mortgage, and she's going to tell us a little bit about the extended rate lock program.
Yeah, great. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us. And just to point out, we do have several builders that we work with, so this is really exciting information for us and for our clients.
Right. Yeah. So when you're building a home, you're looking at budgets and you're picking out all the fun stuff, and you figure out your price and what kind of monthly payment you're going to end up with when you have a mortgage. So the interest rate environment kind of makes it tough right now because rates are on the rise. And when you build a house, it could take 6 months, 9 months,
it's
a
taking
year.
longer because of our supply and demand. Our
Right.
Supply chain is a little slow, so it is taking longer for our builders to get all the supplies that they need to complete in 3 months that you can build a slab for in 3 months, which is we are not doing that right now. So this is a great program that we're super excited about to offer to clients.
So if you want to know, like right now you get pre-qualified and you're like, I'm going to build like a $400,000, $500,000 house, and you know what your mortgage is going to be, and you figure out your monthly payment, but then you can't lock in because typically lenders will lock in for 60 days, or like what we lock in is for 90 days on just a standard existing house. But when you talk new construction, we have something special that we can lock in starting at 120 days up to 240 days. So that's a long period of time that your interest rate is protected, because what you don't want is a surprise. So you think, here's my monthly payment, and then the interest rate 6 months from now, my payment is now $200 or $300 higher than what I budgeted. Like, you don't want that. You're okay with budget upgrades, like, oh, I want this different cabinetry, but you don't want to be like, well, now I'm going to pay $200 more a month for the rest of my mortgage. So this is where the extended rate lock comes in, and it's helpful.
Very helpful. I mean, it is, because you are, even if you find a lot and the builder's already started a spec on it, and it could be 2 months, they say it's going to be ready in 2 months. Well, that 2 months could turn into 4 months just because of stuff that is out of their control. Subs, the supply chain. So this is an awesome program because it is locked for
a long period of time.
Yeah. So which is really nice.
So generally what we recommend is just making sure folks kind of have a pretty firm closing date. And so what I say by firm is, if you're aware of like a supply chain issue, like, well, the big thing is, these certain countertops or whatever are going to be delayed. Generally what we do is we try to lock a little bit of a cushion, like an extra 30 days. So if you think, oh, my closing date is September 30, well, for me, I want to lock it in until like October 31st, just because you're going to be happy on the other end, because there's so many things delayed right now, and that's what you don't want. So it's of course, when you think about locking, it's the time value of money. Like, if we lock something that's closing in 15 days, the rate's going to be a certain level. But if I'm going to lock something that's not closing for 6 months, the rate's going to be higher. So there is a little bit of a premium built in. But the cool thing is we give you the option. There's a one-time float down. So between now and the time of closing, if rates improve, you can exercise a float down option. It's just you can't float down until you're within 45 days of closing. So market movements and improvements. The point of this is to lock it and have that peace of mind and not think about it again.
So anything less is just great.
Exactly. And then we watch it, and when we get to 45 days out, we start watching really closely. And if a float down option comes available, like, we just start crunching numbers and figuring that out. And so it's kind of the best of both worlds. You can't go wrong by at least looking at the numbers.
Have you done one recently? It is a newer program. Have you you have had great success with it?
Right. I have somebody locked in that's closing November 22nd. And so we lock them in until like December 18th, just to be safe. And he's a CPA, and he's like, Kelly, I'm looking at these rates. We've got to do something. And I said, great, let's start, crunching.
It's so nice because you don't have to worry about that. Because that is one thing that you will worry about. Because, especially if you were on a budget, and $200 and $300 extra a month is a lot. We're seeing that because rates are climbing. So, okay, very good.
Yeah, so it's pretty exciting. Just, give us a call.
So
we can always run
just
the
do
numbers.
it like you do anything else.
Right.
go and apply for your loan, sit with you, and
Right.
then you go over the rates, and
Right.
they have to have a contract in place.
Have to have a contract.
in place,
Yeah.
and then you can lock them in, and
Right.
then
Yeah.
45 days prior to closing,
Is when we do the float down if
Okay.
there is
Is
an
there a-
option.
if there's an option.
Right.
Okay.
So there is a fee on the the 120-day lock. There is no fee to lock. Okay. So on the longer than 120-day, there is a fee to lock in, and you get the fee refunded to you at closing. So
Okay.
it's not like you're spending extra. The only time you would not get the money refunded to you is if you did not close with us. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. So again, it's on those really long-term locks that you're putting down. I think like a point is like the beginning fee, and then you get that refunded to you at closing. So it's not like you're paying over and above. It's just
This is so nice, because we have had builders that we have heard of that had to have paid for
Right.
the client's rate lock in
Right.
order to do that, just because the house is not done, and it might be 2 weeks, it might be
right,
a week.
right,
Well, then if you have to have pay down that, if you didn't take advantage of this rate lock program, that's a big
Yeah.
deal. That's
it's
a big deal.
Yeah.
Big deal.
And sometimes too, you can just wait and watch and get closer. If you don't want to do the really long-term lock, you can get 150 days, 180 days, just work with your builder, your agent, and just really start talking about those dates. Because once footings are poured or it's framed up, you kind of really have a
Yeah.
feel for,
Absolutely,
right?
on timing, and the
Yeah.
builders too. I mean, that's the communication with your lender, your
Right.
agent, and your builder is huge. So,
Right.
it's exciting. It's an exciting program. So we are happy that Kelly was
Yeah.
able to sit with us today
Sure.
to give us some more information on that. So if anybody wants information on this rate lock program
Yeah.
for new construction, which is amazing,
Yeah.
just give Kelly or I a call. If you
Yeah.
give me a call, I'll get you in touch with Kelly.
Great.
So
Thank you.
thanks for hanging out with us.
You're
this morning.
welcome. Thank you.